The Radio Wammo Breakfast.
The Geek Show.
Indeed, the Geek Show is back with Ms. B over at Mohawk Studios. Morning, Ms. B.
Good morning, Wammo.
And today we're talking about the Wellington Startup Weekend on the weekend that's just been.
Yeah, that's right. It's been an incredible weekend. 54 hours of intense startup goodness. This is a series of events that's been happening all over the world. There was one recently in Auckland, one in Singapore. This weekend was Wellington and Melbourne happening at the same time. And there's one coming up early next year, end of February next year in Christchurch.
Okay, and how do they work? Who comes along?
It's a real mix of people who are business-minded, people who are coders, designers, and we really do need more designers at these events. They're like gold dust. Some of the designers are working across more than one project team. But basically, people get together. Some of them already have ideas, and some of them come up with ideas during the weekend. The teams form, so some people know each other, some people are meeting fresh for the first time on the Friday. And people get up, they have a pitch to say what they're thinking of doing, and then people wander over and say, yes, I'm interested. And then from that point onwards, for 54 hours solidly, they are working on their ideas.
Okay, cool. And obviously this is judged as well, isn't it? There's a competition going on.
That's right. So there's lots and lots of mentors who come along during the week, some of that weekend, some of whom are there all the time, some of them are coming and going. Some extraordinarily experienced people. There's people who are experts in exporting and growing companies and legal stuff and lean startups. So, you've constantly got some amazing minds walking around the room, working with the project teams, giving their advice. And then the judging panel, I was really fortunate to be on the judging panel, which was an amazing event because I watched Dragon's Den and these shows on TV, and I kind of saw myself one day maybe pitching, but I never expected to be one of the dragons.
Yeah, indeed.
But it was a lot of fun. So the other people on the panel were people like Richard McManus from Read Write Web, who is one of the biggest read blogs in the world. You had Mike Delpreet, who's just moving across to New Zealand quite soon. He's just sold a very large gaming company overseas, so he's looking for investment opportunities and people to work with. You had Stefan Korn, who works with WebFund, a local investment program that was very key to organising this event. And then Ruth McDavitt, who works at New Zealand Trade and Enterprise and has done the Bright Ideas Challenge and has worked at Grow Wellington. Yeah, some really interesting people on the lineup. And then the mentors are amazing. The mentors are from all over the world. Some incredible people, really successful, experienced, supportive people. So I was coming and going over the weekend because I was also at the Festival for the Future, which was happening at the same time as very Wellington, two fantastic events happening concurrently.
Yeah.
But when I went back over on Saturday afternoon, you could really feel the energy in the room and the cognitive, capacity, the brain power in that room was incredible. People were going quite late Saturday night. I think they shut the doors at 1 a.m. and everyone was back at 7 a.m. in the morning. And by the time I went over on Sunday, the energy in the room, it was just electric because everybody's working up to the 5 p.m. pitch deadline. And then everyone gets up, they do a 5-minute pitch. There's 5 minutes of questions from the judges, and then we all go off into a room and deliberate and then come back and make the announcements. And it's an extraordinary experience.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Well, what about the ideas? What were some of the highlights?
Well, there's all sorts of ideas. So you can see a lineup of all of the project teams at wellington.startupweekend.org. And there were some fun ones. So just looking at some of the ones which had honourable mentions before we look at the winners. One of them was Auti, which I absolutely love. It's a training toy for autistic children to reinforce positive play behaviours. So it lets the child interact in a safe, positive way. And then, so if they pet it and they cuddle it, it responds. And then if they shout or hit it, it shuts down. It's just a really good way of learning how to interact. So, and that was one of my students from Victoria Uni last year. I taught her professional practice, so fantastic to see her there. And I really think that's going to go places. There was a site called Ground Facts, who one of the guys there was Selwyn from Scoop, talking to build an application to make it easier to report on disaster recovery. So whenever there's an event happening, how can you collate all of this information really quickly and slickly to help people get information they need really fast? There was a fun one called Budgie Smugglers, which everybody loved the team. The Budgie Smugglers team were hilarious. But they had an idea that it's mainly for guys, so every 3 months you have a subscription, and every 3 months you just get some fresh socks and pants in the mail, so you don't even have to think about it. I could think of a few guys who'd use that. There was a space lotto idea, which I thought was a lot of fun. I think the tickets to go into space are going to be about $200,000. So the idea was that you could actually buy $5 lotto tickets to have a chance to go in to win a ticket to space. But the three that were shortlisted, the third place one was an application for helping children learn to, again, reinforcing positive behaviours. So the idea is that it's like the sticker chart idea on the fridge. You could do gold stars, or you might have a pebble jar to try and get your kids to do what you want. And it was an app for children it's to support, in the first phase, to support parents with toilet training. Then the second one was one called Conscious Consumer, which again was a mobile phone app to help people who have some form of dietary requirements or ethical considerations with purchasing their food. They might be vegan, they might be gluten-free, so that you can go into a supermarket and you can use your phone to swipe barcodes to work out exactly what's in those products to make sure they fit with your values when you purchase them. And then the one that won, and there's a great backstory behind this, because the guy whose idea it was, he actually wasn't planning on going to be involved. He thought he'd go along and have a look to see what was happening, put out there what he thought was a silly idea, and everyone went, no, that's a great idea, and they ran with it. And he's been interviewed afterwards, and he said, and before the end of the weekend, suddenly he's got a business.
Extraordinary.
This is the thing. These aren't just ideas. These people were building apps during the weekend. They were not only building the business, they were actually building the products, building the websites, designing the screens, doing the coding, doing the designing, getting the domain names. It was just extraordinary how much you can do when you put your mind to it. So the winning idea is You Snap Us, which is based around weddings. Because when you go to weddings, quite often the photos that are your favourite are the ones that are taken by the guests. They're not necessarily the staged pictures that you have. So most people have a professional photographer, but it's those little kind of, candid camera moments. So instead of giving disposable cameras to your guests and then you having to have them developed and collated, and then this is an app where all of your guests can sign up for it. So it would be paid for by the wedding couple, provided to all of the guests. And then people, as they're snapping pictures at the wedding, they get collated and put together into a live stream where everyone else can see the photos other people are taking. It means that you're not having to go and search on all the other photo hosting sites to see who took what. And also guests who aren't at your wedding, people who can't make it, can kind of participate on the day by watching the live photo stream. And, there's lots of future opportunities around this for, say, printing the pictures that people take. So there's scope for future income streams. But everyone just thought it was a great idea. It was simple to get. It was a really good targeted market, and there was a lot of growth potential, which was kind of the things that the judges were looking for. Will this business fly? Is there an opportunity to grow it? Will it just work in New Zealand? Will it work well overseas? And as one of the judges says, it was the one idea that he would put his own money into, which is obviously the best thing you can hear. So I just want to say well done to all of the teams, all of the people who turned up and participated and were involved. And just to say, look, we really do need more designers at these events. There's loads of them happening. There's the 24th of February, I think, is going to be the Christchurch one. So if you're involved in any kind of digital media design or user interface design or graphics, come along, get involved, because some of the designers were working on more than one project. They were like gold dust. So it's not just about coding and techie and business. It's about making great products that people will want to use, that look great, and doing it in 54 hours.
Golly gosh. And I imagine they'd be sleeping well right now. Thanks very much.
Oh,
Ms. B.
yeah, or still high on adrenaline.
Yeah, well, that's right. For those who are winning, you snap us. It looks like a very, very cool idea. Well, you can find this as a video once more up at thegeekshow.com, 2 3s rather than 2 E's. Ms. B, we'll catch you next time.
Cheers, Wammo.